Newspaper girl changes her life after damaging billionaire's BMW new model supercar. The sun had just begun to peek over the horizon, casting a soft golden glow on the bustling streets of London. Emily pedaled her bicycle swiftly, the basket in front filled with newspapers. She had been delivering papers since she was a teenager, and it had become a routine that she cherished. The cool morning air brushed against her cheeks as she navigated the familiar routes, her mind already planning the day ahead. As she turned a corner, her eyes widened in surprise. A sleek black BMW supercar was parked haphazardly on the side of the road, its gleaming paint reflecting the early morning light. Emily's heart skipped a beat as she realized she was heading straight for it. She tried to swerve, but it was too late. The front wheel of her bicycle collided with the side of the car, leaving a noticeable dent and a scratch on the pristine paint. "Oh no!" Emily exclaimed, her voice filled with panic. She quickly dismounted her bicycle and rushed to the car, her heart pounding in her chest. The damage was clear, and she knew she was in trouble. Just as she was about to pick up her scattered newspapers, the driver's side door of the BMW swung open. A tall, well-dressed man stepped out, his expression stern. He looked at the damage, and then at Emily, his eyes narrowing. "Do you have any idea how much this car costs?" he demanded, his voice sharp. Emily's eyes welled up with tears as she looked at the man. "I'm so sorry," she said, her voice trembling. "I didn't mean to hit your car. I was just trying to make my deliveries on time." The man, Daniel, looked at her for a moment, his expression softening slightly. He could see the genuine remorse in her eyes and the fear that she might not be able to pay for the damage. "You need to pay for the damages," he said, his tone firm but less angry. Emily nodded, her tears spilling over. "I'm sorry. I'll work to pay you back, I promise," she said, her voice filled with determination. Daniel looked at her, considering her offer. He could see the sincerity in her eyes and the resolve in her voice. He took a deep breath, his mind racing with possibilities. "All right," he said finally. "Meet me at my office tomorrow morning. We'll discuss how you can pay off the debt." Emily nodded, a mix of relief and anxiety washing over her. She quickly jotted down the address Daniel gave her and thanked him profusely. As she watched him drive away, she couldn't help but wonder what the future held for her. Little did she know that this chance encounter would change her life forever. The next morning, Emily woke up earlier than usual. She had barely slept, her mind racing with thoughts of the accident and the impending meeting with Daniel. She quickly got ready, choosing a simple yet presentable outfit, and made her way to the address Daniel had given her. As she stood in front of the towering glass building, Emily took a deep breath to steady her nerves. She entered the lobby, her heart pounding in her chest, and approached the receptionist. "Good morning," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm here to see Mr. Daniel Thompson." The receptionist looked up from her computer and smiled warmly. "Good morning. Mr. Thompson is expecting you. Please take the elevator to the 20th floor." Emily thanked her and made her way to the elevator, her palms sweaty with anxiety. As the elevator doors closed, she took another deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. When the doors opened on the 20th floor, she stepped out into a modern and sleek workspace. The walls were adorned with abstract art, and the furniture was minimalistic yet elegant. A young woman approached her, her heels clicking on the polished floor. "Good morning. You must be Emily. Mr. Thompson is waiting for you in his office. Follow me, please." Emily nodded and followed the woman down a long corridor. They stopped in front of a large wooden door, and the woman knocked softly before opening it. "Mr. Thompson, Emily is here to see you," she announced before stepping aside to let Emily enter. Daniel was sitting behind a large desk, his eyes focused on his computer screen. He looked up as Emily entered, his expression serious. "Have a seat," he said, gesturing to the chair in front of his desk. Emily sat down, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. She looked at Daniel, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and determination. "I'm sorry about the accident," she said, her voice steady. "I promise I'll work to pay you back for the damages." Daniel leaned back in his chair, his eyes studying her intently. "I appreciate your honesty, Emily, but the repairs will be expensive. Do you have any idea how you're going to pay for them?" Emily took a deep breath, her mind racing. "I can take on extra shifts at the newspaper, and I can look for additional part-time work. I'll do whatever it takes to pay you back." Daniel nodded, impressed by her determination. He leaned forward, his elbows resting on the desk. "I have a proposal for you. Work for me as an assistant, and we'll deduct the cost of the repairs from your salary. It will take some time, but it's a fair solution." Emily's eyes widened in surprise. She hadn't expected such an offer. "Really? Thank you so much," she exclaimed, her voice filled with gratitude. Daniel smiled, his expression softening. "You're welcome. I believe in giving people a chance to prove themselves. You seem like a hard-working and honest person, and I think you'll be a valuable addition to my team." Emily nodded, her heart swelling with relief and excitement. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I won't let you down." Daniel stood up and extended his hand. "Call me Daniel. Welcome to the team, Emily." Emily stood up and shook his hand, a smile spreading across her face. As she left his office, she couldn't help but feel a sense of hope and determination. This was her chance to change her life, and she was ready to seize it. Emily's first day at Daniel's tech company was a whirlwind of activity. She was introduced to the team, given a tour of the office, and shown to her desk. The modern workspace was a stark contrast to the bustling streets where she delivered newspapers, and she couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and nervousness. As she settled into her new role, Emily quickly realized that working for Daniel would be challenging but rewarding. She was tasked with managing his schedule, coordinating meetings, and handling various administrative duties. Despite the steep learning curve, Emily was determined to prove herself. Over the next few weeks, Emily and Daniel began to spend more time together. Daniel was impressed by her work ethic and attention to detail, and he found himself looking forward to their interactions. Emily, on the other hand, was grateful for the opportunity and worked tirelessly to meet Daniel's expectations. One evening, as Emily was wrapping up her work for the day, Daniel approached her desk. "Emily, do you have a moment?" he asked, his voice gentle. Emily looked up and smiled. "Of course, Daniel. What can I do for you?" Daniel leaned against her desk, his eyes studying her intently. "I wanted to thank you for all your hard work. You've been a great addition to the team, and I appreciate your dedication." Emily blushed slightly, her heart fluttering. "Thank you, Daniel. I'm just doing my job." Daniel smiled, his expression warm. "Well, you're doing an excellent job. I was wondering if you'd like to join me for dinner tonight. I think it's time we got to know each other better." Emily's eyes widened in surprise. She hadn't expected such an invitation, but she found herself eager to accept. "I'd love to," she said, her voice filled with excitement. Daniel nodded, a satisfied smile on his face. "Great. I'll pick you up at 7. As Emily watched him walk away, she couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. This was more than just a job. It was an opportunity to build a connection with someone who believed in her. The evening was perfect. The sun had set, casting a warm glow over the city, and the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers. Emily had chosen a simple yet elegant dress for the occasion, and she felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as she waited for Daniel to arrive. At exactly 7 p.m., Daniel pulled up in front of her apartment in his BMW. He stepped out of the car, looking handsome in a tailored suit, and opened the passenger door for Emily. "You look beautiful," he said, his eyes appreciative. Emily blushed slightly, her heart fluttering. "Thank you, Daniel. You look great too." They drove to a cozy Italian restaurant in the heart of London. The ambiance was warm and inviting, with soft lighting, and the gentle hum of conversation filling the air. As they were seated at a table by the window, Emily couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment. Over a delicious meal of pasta and wine, Emily and Daniel shared stories about their lives. Emily talked about her dreams of becoming a journalist and her love for writing. She spoke passionately about her desire to tell stories that mattered and to make a difference in the world. Daniel listened attentively, impressed by her ambition and determination. He shared his own journey, talking about the challenges he faced in building his tech company and the lessons he learned along the way. As the evening progressed, they found themselves drawn to each other, their conversation flowing effortlessly. "I've always dreamed of becoming a journalist," Emily said, her eyes shining with excitement. "I want to tell stories that inspire people and make them think." Daniel smiled, his expression warm. "That's a noble dream, Emily. I believe in you, and I think you have what it takes to make it happen." Emily's heart swelled with gratitude. She had never felt so understood and supported, and she knew that this connection with Daniel was special. As the evening came to an end, Daniel drove Emily back to her apartment. They stood by the car, the moonlight casting a soft glow on their faces. "Thank you for a wonderful evening," Emily said, her voice filled with sincerity. Daniel smiled, his eyes gentle. "The pleasure was all mine, Emily. I look forward to seeing you at work tomorrow." Emily nodded, her heart fluttering. As she watched Daniel drive away, she couldn't help but feel a sense of hope and excitement for the future. This was just the beginning of their journey together, and she was ready to embrace whatever came their way. As the days turned into weeks, Emily and Daniel's bond grew stronger. They spent more time together, both at work and outside of it, and their connection deepened. However, Daniel knew that there were secrets from his past that he needed to share with Emily. He struggled with the weight of these secrets, fearing that they might tear apart the fragile bond they had built. One afternoon, Daniel found himself in James's garage, seeking advice from his best friend. James was working on a car, his hands covered in grease, but he paused to listen to Daniel's concerns. "I don't know if I can tell her the truth," Daniel admitted, his voice filled with worry. "I'm afraid she'll never forgive me." James looked up from the car, his expression serious. "Honesty is the foundation of any relationship, Daniel. You owe it to her and to yourself to be truthful." Daniel sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I know, but it's not that simple. There are things in my past that I'm not proud of, and I don't want to lose her because of them." James put down his tools and walked over to Daniel, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Emily is a strong and understanding person. If she cares about you as much as you care about her, she'll be willing to listen and forgive, but you have to give her the chance to do that." Daniel nodded, his mind racing with thoughts. He knew James was right, but the fear of losing Emily was overwhelming. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for the conversation he knew he had to have. "Thanks, James. I appreciate your advice." James smiled, his expression warm. "Any time, Daniel. Just remember, true love is built on trust and openness. You can't have one without the other." That evening, Daniel invited Emily to his apartment. The luxurious penthouse offered a breathtaking view of the city, and the soft lighting created a warm and inviting atmosphere. Emily looked around in awe, her eyes wide with wonder. "This place is amazing," she said, her voice filled with admiration. Daniel smiled, but his expression was tinged with nervousness. "Thank you. I'm glad you like it." He led her to the living room, where they sat down on the plush sofa. Daniel took a deep breath, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew this was the moment he had been dreading, but he also knew it was necessary. "Emily, there's something I need to tell you," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I've made mistakes in the past, and I'm not proud of them, but I want to be honest with you, and I hope you can understand." Emily looked at him, her eyes filled with concern. "What is it, Daniel? You can tell me anything." Daniel took another deep breath, his mind racing with memories. A few years ago, I was involved in a business deal that went wrong. I made some poor decisions and people got hurt. I've spent a lot of time trying to make amends, but the guilt still haunts me. Emily listened attentively, her expression serious. She could see the pain in Daniel's eyes and the sincerity in his voice. "I'm so sorry, Daniel," she said, her voice gentle. "But why didn't you tell me sooner?" Daniel looked at her, his eyes filled with regret. "I was afraid. I was afraid that you would see me differently, that you would think less of me. I didn't want to lose you, Emily." Emily's heart ached for him. She could see the struggle he had been going through, and she understood the weight of his past. But she also felt a sense of betrayal, knowing that he had kept this from her for so long. "I need some time to process this," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "I care about you, Daniel, but I need to think about what this means for us." Daniel nodded, his heart heavy with regret. "I understand. Take all the time you need. I just hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me." Emily stood up, her eyes filled with tears. She walked to the door, her heart aching with a mix of emotions. As she stepped out of the apartment, she knew that this revelation would change everything. Emily returned home, her mind racing with thoughts of Daniel's revelation. She felt a mix of emotions, hurt, confusion, and a deep sense of betrayal. She needed someone to talk to, someone who could offer her wisdom and guidance. She found her mother, Martha, in the kitchen, preparing dinner. Martha looked up as Emily entered, her eyes filled with concern. "Emily, what's wrong? You look upset." Emily sat down at the kitchen table, her eyes welling up with tears. "Mom, I need to talk to you. Something happened with Daniel, and I don't know what to do." Martha put down the knife she was using and walked over to Emily, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Tell me what happened, sweetheart." Emily took a deep breath, her voice trembling as she recounted Daniel's revelation. She explained the mistakes he had made in the past and the guilt that still haunted him. She also shared her feelings of betrayal and confusion, unsure of how to move forward. Martha listened attentively, her expression filled with empathy. When Emily finished speaking, Martha took her hand and looked into her eyes. "Love is not about perfection, Emily. It's about understanding and forgiveness," Martha said, her voice gentle but firm. "Everyone makes mistakes, and it's how we learn from them that defines us. Daniel was honest with you, and that takes courage." Emily looked at her mother, her eyes filled with tears. "But how can I trust him again? He kept this from me for so long." Martha smiled, her expression warm. "Trust is built over time, but it starts with a willing heart. You need to ask yourself if you're willing to forgive him and give him a second chance. If you truly care about him, then you owe it to yourself to try." Emily nodded, her heart heavy with emotion. She knew her mother was right, but the path forward was still unclear. She needed time to process her feelings and decide what she truly wanted. "Thank you, Mom," Emily said, her voice filled with gratitude. "I just need some time to think." Martha squeezed her hand, her eyes filled with love. "Take all the time you need, sweetheart. I'm here for you, no matter what." Over the next few days, Emily spent a lot of time reflecting on her feelings and her conversation with her mother. She thought about the moments she had shared with Daniel, the connection they had built, and the honesty he had shown her. She realized that she still cared deeply for him, and that she was willing to give him a second chance. One evening, Emily decided to visit Daniel at his apartment. She took a deep breath as she stood in front of his door, her heart pounding in her chest. She knocked softly, and a moment later, Daniel opened the door. His eyes widened in surprise, and he stepped aside to let her in. "Emily, I'm so glad to see you," he said, his voice filled with emotion. Emily entered the apartment, her heart fluttering with nervousness. She turned to face Daniel, her eyes filled with determination. "I've thought a lot about what you said," she began, her voice steady. "I want to give us another chance. I care about you, Daniel, and I believe in the connection we have." Daniel's eyes filled with relief and gratitude. "Thank you, Emily. I promise I won't let you down again. I'll do everything in my power to make things right." Emily smiled, her heart swelling with hope. "I believe you, Daniel. Let's build a future together, one step at a time." Daniel took her hand, his eyes filled with love. "Together," he said, his voice filled with conviction. In the weeks that followed, Emily and Daniel worked tirelessly to build a strong and lasting relationship. They spent quality time together, sharing their dreams, fears, and aspirations. Emily continued to pursue her passion for journalism, with Daniel's unwavering support. He encouraged her to write and helped her connect with industry professionals who could guide her career. At work, Emily excelled in her role as Daniel's assistant. Her dedication and hard work did not go unnoticed, and she quickly became an invaluable member of the team. Daniel, impressed by her capabilities, offered her additional responsibilities and opportunities to grow within the company. One afternoon, as Emily was wrapping up her work for the day, Daniel approached her desk with a smile. "Emily, can I talk to you for a moment?" he asked, his voice gentle. Emily looked up and smiled. "Of course, Daniel. What's on your mind?" Daniel leaned against her desk, his eyes filled with pride. "I've been thinking about your future here at the company. You've proven yourself to be an exceptional employee, and I want to offer you a promotion. You'll have more responsibilities and a chance to work on projects that align with your passion for journalism." Emily's eyes widened in surprise and excitement. "Really? Thank you so much, Daniel. I won't let you down." Daniel smiled, his expression warm. "I have no doubt about that, Emily. You've earned this, and I'm proud to have you on my team." Emily's heart swelled with gratitude and happiness. She knew that this promotion was not just a step forward in her career, but also a testament to the trust and belief Daniel had in her. As the days turned into months, Emily and Daniel's relationship continued to flourish. They celebrated their love with a small, intimate ceremony attended by their closest friends and family. The venue was adorned with beautiful flowers and soft lighting, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. Emily looked radiant in a simple yet elegant dress, her eyes shining with happiness. Daniel, handsome in a tailored suit, stood by her side, his eyes filled with love and admiration. As they exchanged their vows, they looked into each other's eyes, their hearts filled with hope and excitement for the future. "To new beginnings and endless love," Emily said, her voice filled with emotion as she raised her glass. Daniel smiled, his eyes reflecting the same sentiment. "To us," he said, raising his glass in unison. Their friends and family cheered, their faces filled with joy and happiness. As the evening progressed, Emily and Daniel danced under the starlit sky, their hearts beating in sync. They knew that they had overcome countless challenges to be together, and they were ready to embrace whatever the future held. Emily and Daniel's story is a testament to the power of love, resilience, and redemption. Through their journey, they learned the value of honesty, forgiveness, and understanding. Their love story, filled with heartfelt emotions and captivating moments, serves as an inspiration for anyone who believes in the power of true love. Thank you for joining us on this emotional roller coaster. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales that will touch your heart. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll bring you another captivating story filled with love, drama, and unexpected twists. Until then, keep believing in the power of love and the strength of the human spirit. See you next time.